Hey guys, welcome back to Listen Lissa. I am your host, Alyssa. I am joining you today for a quick little snippet episode. It's not a full episode. I was going to include this story time in my next episode, which is coming up probably today, maybe tomorrow. Time's a ticking. So it hopefully will be out today, but I am not sure. That video is about the 6 most common tendencies of a fearful avoidant attachment style. One of those tendencies is dissociating. So I'm going to tell a story about a time that I dissociated. That is probably the most low-level one I have. The thing about dissociation is that it can be a pretty heavy topic because typically if you're going to dissociate, it's heavy stuff. It's something that has triggered you into this coping mechanism. So I'm going to get into what dissociation is and then give you my story about when it happened to me. Now, if you do know what dissociating is and you have experienced it or someone that you know does this, please let me know in the comments because I'm trying to learn more about this and I really want to hear your experiences with it. I do find that sometimes I have a hard time actually really encompassing the essence of it by having a hard time describing it and putting it into words. So please tell me what yours was like. Of course, only share what you're comfortable with. But if you want to tell me, what caused it, if you do know, and then what happened, describe for me. How would you describe what dissociation feels like? And also tell me what attachment style you are. Because dissociating is very common, most common amongst fearful avoidance, but other attachment styles can certainly dissociate from time to time. It's a human coping mechanism that anybody could actually utilize. So if you have, please let me know. All right, without further ado, let's get into it. Dissociation is when you separate from your body and the world around you. So it's a state in your mind that you kind of go away to where you have a somewhat of an out-of-body experience where it's like you're not really you in your body at that moment. You don't feel connected to your body and what's happening to you at that moment. And you also might have an overall feeling of like this world that we're in right now and whatever's going on is not real. It doesn't feel like a real life. Okay, so this is something that it's not like a magical power. It's not like they can just be like, dissociate. It's definitely a trauma response. It's a pretty deep one, and it happens under moments of severe stress, severe emotional turmoil. This is likely a heavy trigger that's triggering them into something that's probably pretty difficult for them, and there's definitely something going on in the moment that has caused this. Beyond their ups and downs and their unpredictability, sometimes fearful avoidance may just seem downright void of life. And you might not always actually notice when they do this. It's not going to be, hopefully, a very extremely common thing that this happens, and you might not even realize that it happened because it's very much internal for the fearful avoidant, and they kind of just continue on like autopilot. It's almost like a fugue state where they're still going through all the motions. And you wouldn't be aware that this is happening unless you're inside their brain, because their brain has kind of left the building. It's left its housing. They may be there physically, but maybe absent of emotion or attention span. You may start to feel like you're talking to a robot or like someone who's just not really there. This may look very strikingly similar to the dismissive avoidance shutdown. So just kind of like, like not a lot going on, not a lot coming out, not a lot going in, all of that. They will simply go away for a while in their mind somewhere. They're outside of their body watching what's happening. And the reason their body would feel the need to do this, or their brain would feel the need to do this, is because whatever is happening at that moment to them, their body, or in their environment, is not okay with them. Highly distressing. It's triggering them, and they might be feeling absolutely destroyed by something that's happened or happening. They might feel defeated. I have experienced dissociation. I want to tell you my quick story with dissociating so you can kind of get an idea of how this could happen. And this is definitely the lower level one. This wasn't as serious, but in the moment, obviously, it felt serious enough to me to dissociate. Okay? All right. I remember a time I dissociated when I was being directly disrespected in front of company in my own home. My ex was the boss at his particular location of work, and he had his employees over on a Sunday to our house to work on a project they were working on and that he wanted me to help them with. It was some type of art aspect to it, or basket preparation. That's one of my hobbies and talents, is art and creating and stuff like that, decorating. So he had asked me to help out. But this particular week, the house was not clean. I kept our home very, very clean and very presentable. It was not common for me, but I wasn't feeling very good. In this living situation, I did a vast majority of the home care and the cleaning and the housekeeping and stuff like that. Well, this would be his employees' first time coming over, so I wanted to have the place clean for them as his guests. So I got up early, not feeling very well, right? And I cleaned the entire house. I had fallen behind not only on the housework, but also our bedroom. This was not the common state of it, but it was probably as messy as it's ever been. It was pretty messy. Like, it was not presentable. I did not want people to see it like that, okay? But obviously the downstairs was more important, like more pressing at the moment. So I just fallen a few days behind. His employees were coming in the early afternoon. So I worked my butt off to prepare, and I even was throwing together some appetizers for them, okay? I tried to wake my ex up a couple of times to help me speed things up a bit so that I could also have time before they arrived to get my own shower and get ready to be able to hang out. And hopefully also, I was hoping that I would have time to also clean our bedroom and bathroom and like get that presentable. But unfortunately, he just ignored me the couple of times that I attempted to wake him up. He ended up sleeping in all the way until the moment that they arrived. Bravo. Wow. Great. Not assisting with anything to prepare for them to come over. Yay. Therefore, when they arrived, I needed to clean myself up to be ready to join in hanging out. First thing that really upset me about this was that already he had slept in right to the moment that they got there. I had already gotten up and done all this nice, kind stuff for him, for his guests to come over. And then he was giving me a hard time, trying to tell me,
"Oh, you don't need to get all ready."
Knowing that I am a person that likes to be presentable for company. Knowing that that's going to be something that I want. Doing what I need to do to feel comfortable. So that was already throwing me off and kind of irritating me. And I felt pressured to hurry up. And I was just like, this is not cool. I didn't ask for this. I really wanted to clean up our room, but I could see that I wasn't going to have time based on how he was trying to hurry me along. And I was already barely having time to get like a shower and throw some clothes on and look halfway decent, the way he was kind of badgering me to hurry up. And I was just thinking in my head, why do you need me there to hang out with your employees? Like, I took my shower and got myself ready as fast as possible. I really wanted to clean the room again. Like, I had spent months decorating our home and I was very proud of it. So at that very moment, I would be very embarrassed if someone saw our bedroom, like very embarrassed. And he was very well aware of this. And it was so far from how I normally kept it. It was gorgeous when I had it all in the bed made. And so he was rushing me to get downstairs. So I went down and I just told him kind of discreetly, I was trying, but they were right there. And I was like, I
didn't have time to clean upstairs, so just don't take anyone in our room.
Gave him the information. I was very clear. Okay. He kind of shrugged me off, but I figured still like he would respect that. I said it very blatantly. You know, it wasn't like,
can you?
I was like, I began to get worried though, when not too much later, he said to everyone,
"When so-and-so's done in the bathroom, I'll give you guys a tour of the place."
And then one of his coworkers said,
I want to see your balcony.
That's our master bedroom balcony, which means you have to go through our bedroom to get to it. I designed our balcony like a little breakfast bistro / spa. So it was so adorable. And I named it Chateau Alyssa, which is also the name of my resin art business now, which came from me designing this balcony and naming it Chateau Alyssa. That's where I got the name. So this was the original Chateau Alyssa, and it was just so cute. So I was quite proud of it, but at that moment, I hadn't had time to straighten up the bedroom. And this was literally just not going to happen. There was no way I could let anyone in that bedroom, just period. Okay, that was absolute hard line. I asked my boyfriend to just give me about 30 minutes. I'm going to go up, I'm going to clean everything up so then you guys can do your tour and I can feel comfortable. I also had been like getting sick and it was kind of gross up there, like in the bathroom. It was just nothing like what I ever would show anyone. I would be mortified. That's not how I live. It was just a really off week, okay? So just imagine that. His answer was,
No, it's fine. Like, stop. They don't care.
I embarrassingly tried to discreetly tell him again.
It's much worse than I'm comfortable with. Just give me a little time, or we have to just let them see it another day.
I was very clear. He spoke over me and said to everyone,
No, it's cool. Don't worry about it. She's just overthinking things.
I spoke after him, this time to the group. Everyone was cool with that, okay? So, problem solved. But my boyfriend, he just kind of laughed at me again and muttered under his breath,
No, it's fine.
Sir. I thought surely he wouldn't really just ignore my obviously stated protest. I figured he just maybe didn't realize how serious I was in the moment, or maybe he was joking around. I went in to grab one of the appetizers that was coming out of the oven, and I texted my boyfriend from there, and I made it very clear in big letters that I did not want anyone in our room today. Hard pass, like absolutely not. He didn't respond to that text, okay? About 2 minutes later, they were walking in from the garage where everybody was hanging out. That was kind of like our chill spot in the house, or his. And he was showing them around the downstairs areas. I didn't worry too much because I was hoping he'd seen my text and heard me say it 12 times already. Then I heard him say,
And then up here is our bedroom.
as I hear footsteps going up the stairs. Guys, I figured he must not have seen my text message. So I hurriedly went over to him and stopped him on the stairs, literally got around them and stopped him on our stairs, guys. Okay? So if you're not embarrassed yet.
It was very embarrassing.
Just wait. I stopped him and I said,
I'm so sorry.
looking at all of them, there's 4 people here, okay, from his job, his employees that he is the boss of, okay? And I'm here, his girlfriend, on the stairs, stopping him from going upstairs because I've already very politely communicated this. And I say,
I'm very sorry. Today, no one can go in our bedroom today. I'm so sorry. It's just really not presentable at the moment, and I just do not feel comfortable. I don't feel comfortable. I'm so sorry.
he had a smirk on his face. If you've watched many of my other videos, this partner, you might know, is a bit dismissive of me, a bit emotionally abusive of me, and a lot of it, not a little bit, a lot. And so he did have a smirk because his employees were there, but the face I could see on him, which I was familiar with, was anger and demanding me. He was like, you just back off, and I'm doing this. Like, he had a face. It looked like kind of a smile, but it was not a smile, okay? I was very aware of that. He moved my arm on the rail out of the way and said,
No, it's fine. They don't care about that.
I insisted, guys. I tried to stop him again, expressing I was very serious and I really am not okay with this. At this point, was way more awkward than it ever needed to be, okay? But I was not okay with this. He then said the same thing back to me. He said,
No, I'm very serious.
I was shocked. I looked at his employees. They kind of just nervously laughed and followed his lead. One of them saying something like,
It's okay. We won't judge.
in that moment, I really was baffled by the fact that not even one of his employees said something, just spoke up and said, "Oh, she doesn't seem like she wants us to go in there. It's okay. It's okay." I was really surprised. It was odd. It was so odd. If that were me in that situation and someone tried to stop that so many times and I was witness to that, I would have said something. That's so awkward. It was very apparent that I wasn't okay with it. And I just couldn't believe that 4 adults were just going along with this right past me. Like I didn't mean anything. Like my voice had no impact whatsoever. I remember just being so confused. Like, why is he so adamant about showing this room and this balcony that he has literally not liked the entire time? The whole time I was decorating our house, he was so annoyed by it. He was not appreciative of it at all. He just complained about it constantly and had like a really bad attitude about it. He didn't help purchase anything, the thousands of dollars that I spent. He didn't lift a finger to help me put anything together. I didn't understand until much later when a lot of other things happened, but he specifically wanted to show it because it was this messy. He was taking advantage of the opportunity because he had been talking about me behind my back at work, just like to everyone else. And this was a good opportunity for him to embarrass me and show that I'm this terrible person to live with and whatever else he said. I knew I wasn't communicating badly. I was being very assertive and I was being very firm. And I was clearly stating, I do not approve of this in my own home. And I was saying it was not okay with me. I don't feel comfortable. And I was being shrugged off and directly disrespected in front of company. I stood there in complete shock and helplessness as I watched him walk these 4 employees, whom I've never met before today, into my private bedroom that I share with him. Anyway, in disbelief. My privacy was completely invaded, and I was shrugged off like someone who didn't matter at all. In my own house. He took them into our bedroom as I stood on the stairs trying to regain composure and trying to make sense of the fact that that was just really happening right now. And I might sound dramatic, but the dynamic that was happening here that is not part of the story is that he was often very disrespectful of me and my boundaries and me as a person. He didn't often treat me like a person, and he didn't often treat me like I mattered. And he was very violating to me at many times. So this was just like, this wasn't the first time. And it made me feel very helpless and embarrassed and humiliated at times, oftentimes. So that's what was going on here as well. My face got so hot, I felt the tears welling up in my eyes against my will to push them back. I was about to be full-on anger, sobbing in front of every person that works for him. I was like, crap, mayday, emotion overload. This can't happen right now. What is he thinking? And the next thing I knew, I completely dissociated. I didn't have any options. And I guess my body went, okay, it panicked. And there was nowhere to go. So I went away. In my memory, I could see myself on the stairs, and I could also see them in my room. It was very odd. The next thing I remember after that is being back in the kitchen. So really freaky. Watching myself place appetizers on the plate and having a very mundane, normal, run-of-the-mill conversation with one of his employees about her mom's wedding. I was hearing myself do this, but it was like I wasn't me. And it was like that environment was not really what was happening at the moment. Like it didn't seem real. It was very, very odd. It's a very weird feeling. If it's ever happened to you, please put your dissociating stories in the comments. I want to hear it. This is so interesting to me. I want to hear like how you experience, because it's actually like really hard to describe sometimes. And so please help me out. If you've ever dissociated, please describe it for me in the comments, okay? Thank you so much. I love you. I was not in my body. Everything sounded muffled and had a weird glowing haze around it. I also felt completely empty and void of any ability to emote. I didn't know how to exist in that moment after being treated no better than an annoying fly on his shoulder that he just shooed away in front of our company. I didn't know how to keep interacting in that situation with any dignity after that. I know now that I was completely humiliated, and this is likely so impactful for me because I have experienced people disrespecting me when I say no to something and thinking that they know better and doing things anyway. In many different situations throughout my life, that is a theme for me. And also I have a trauma with humiliation and feeling very completely mortified, embarrassed in front of groups of people, things like that. So some traumatic experiences with that. So those were likely my triggers. He had been treating me very badly prior to this day, so it was a lot of emotional abuse piling all onto me at once, and I just had to escape. But I couldn't, so I dissociated. I remember a quick feeling right before I dissociated of having an urge to grab my keys and just leave. Like I was just out of there. I was just going to storm out. I wanted to run. But I knew that that would cause such a scene for him. This was literally his entire office. This was his career. These were his people that work for him. So I didn't want to cause a scene for him. So I felt like I literally had to stay. I felt trapped. So that pressure combined with the humiliation, the complete disregard for my direct boundary expressed in front of everyone he works with, and feeling trapped to stay there and pretend it was all just fine is what led to me dissociating instead. Once I learned about dissociation, I realized that I had done this other times throughout my life. So once you identify a time when you dissociate, it's likely not your first time that you have. So you will likely discover you're dissociating after doing it multiple times. It won't be on your first time doing it, typically. I mean, that's not like a never thing, but like most often. So if this sounds like an experience you've had before, please let me know. I don't know how common it is or how often those who are not a fearful avoidant attachment style experience dissociating. So that's why I really want to hear from you guys. Help me to hear your stories and figure out a little bit more about this topic because I am very interested. That's it for my story. I hope you enjoyed it and keep those eyes peeled for my episode that should be coming out, I think, tomorrow. I'm going to try my best. I couldn't get it done tonight. I'm so sorry. But it is almost done and please don't miss it. And I love you. Don't forget that either. Okay? You're great. You are freaking fabulous. Okay? Don't you forget that ever. Okay?